Welcome to a little bit of Calm and Crazy. Today I am so excited to be able to share with you some easy and affordable room decor ideas. Today is all about shopping your craft stash. I don't know about you, but I am not heading out into that craziness, nor am I encouraging you either. I want us all to just use the stash that we have at home. So these are super easy items to find at home, and if you can't, don't worry, I got you covered. I'm giving you some alternatives as we go throughout the video. Now, if you are new to my channel and you love easy DIYs, budget decor, make sure that you are hitting that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And let's go ahead and just jump right on into today's projects. For our first project, you are going to grab 4 identical frames. And please tell me I am not the only person who has 4 identical frames from, you know, the days when we all had gallery walls full of picture frames. And if you're wondering, not that you asked, I still happen to like gallery walls. I am taking a Waverly's chalk paint in white and painting all 4 frames. Now, you can use any chalk paint you want. You can also use acrylic paint. Acrylic paint is just not as thick, and so you may need to go in with more coats than you would if you were using a chalk paint. Because of the black frame, it did take me 2 coats using the chalk paint to cover up and get the coverage that I wanted, but I still had a tiny bit of that black poking out, which was perfect, and it gave me that aged look that I was going for. Once you've painted all 4 frames, now it's time to create your window, and there's a couple of different options for that. So I'm using these large paint sticks. I get these at Home Depot. They're $1 or just under $1 for a pack of 3 of them, and I'm using 2 packs. Now, if you don't have these, you could also use a smaller paint stick. You could use popsicle sticks, or if you don't have any of that, you could go directly and just place the picture frames right on the wall. I always use command strips in order to do that, the Velcro ones. Whichever way you want to do this, go for it. I'm using the paint sticks in order to add support as well as in order to combine the picture frames together. So I'm laying everything out so I know exactly where I need to cut, and I'm going in with this handy dandy tool. I actually saw this, Yami from the Latina next door used it, and immediately I had to order one. And it doesn't like cut straight through. It does take a little bit of muscle, but it does cut in different angles. So this is a really neat tool to have in your tool chest. And I'm just trimming down the sides that I need to, and then you see I'm measuring out and cutting a piece in half and then cutting it down even further than that. So I'm just getting the pieces. Now everyone's frames are going to be different sizes, so what you need and how you do this would be completely different depending on the size of frames and the thickness of the frames that you're using. Once I have all my paint sticks to the sizes that I need, then I'm going in with my hot glue gun in order to attach them. If you haven't seen this hot glue gun, it is one of my favorites. It's from Shore Bonder. It's cordless. Absolutely love it. Now this is the bigger one, and the reason why I'm going in with this one, it is a high heat, which I absolutely suggest using for this. You want that high heat, and the bigger one gives off more glue, and I definitely needed this. And I am being super generous with my hot glue in the areas that I'm able to, because if you can see up close on my picture frame, I am not able to get glue contact everywhere. And so any area that I can really glob that glue on there so that my paint stick can touch, I am doing that. And I go all the way around, attaching the paint sticks around the entire frame, making sure that it is extra secure. Once I have secured the paint sticks, I go back in again with my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I paint all the little nooks and crevices and crannies, that making sure that any angle that you see this window, you're not seeing anything but white peeking through. I also went ahead and took the time to paint the back of it because I am one of those people that likes to have a finished product. Once all the paint had dried, I did go in with a white wax. You could also use a clear wax, and I gave it a good coating of the white wax, and I made sure that I wiped off any of the extra, and this is just to give it a nice protective seal. You don't necessarily have to do it, but it does give it an added layer of protection. So I have this sad little wreath from the Dollar Tree. I know it's just $1, but I always wish that they were just not quite so sad. One day my son was helping me take apart some older wreaths and he cut the twine by accident, leaving me with this undone wreath. So I decided to go ahead and undo a perfectly good wreath as well and combine the two wreaths together. So it's so easy, you just snip the twine, it comes off super easy. And then I just stacked them on top of each other, got a new piece of twine. I tied it into the knot on the back side of it. And then I just took that twine, wrapped it around, and then finished it with a knot at the end in the exact same place that I had started. And I love this thicker wreath that I was able to create for just $2. So I dug through my florals and I pulled out a couple of different ones, this green one and a white one. I believe the green one came from Walmart and the white one came from Dollar Tree. I'm not exactly sure, but I kind of was going more for a neutral color with this one. Again, any floral will work. I just snipped them a little bit longer and then I just took them and I stuck them just straight into the twigs of the wreath. No hot gluing at all. So when I want to go back and undo this and redo it for another time, it will be super easy to do that. I will not damaging my wreath. This is so easy. And I just took them around, adding them wherever. And then on the back side, if any of the stems were a little bit long and sticking out, I just kind of bent them, curled them, and tucked them right on in. So I am using this tiki bar sign that I got from Dollar Tree last summer, but if you have another Dollar Tree sign, that would be fantastic. If you're keeping this indoors, you could also use foam board or even cardboard. I start by taking a 60 grit sandpaper and sanding the glitter off the front of the sign. Now I'm doing this because I plan on painting both sides of the sign. Again, I like to have a finished product, so I like my fronts and my backs to look good. If you're being super thrifty, you could always save the glitter and use it in a different project. Going in with Waverly's chalk paint in white again, I paint the front and the back of the sign. Once the paint was completely dried, I went in with my Cricut and I cut Bless Our Home. Now this is the 4-season home decor font. It's my favorite font in Cricut right now. If you don't have an electric die cutter, you could also go in with a Sharpie, with paint. You could use stickers to do this. Do not feel like you need an electric die cutter in order to do this. This is such a basic and easy sign. To attach my sign to my wreath, I'm going in with some hemp cord that I had. You could also use twine or even some rope, some thinner rope to do this. And I'm just taking it through the original holes, knotting that, then wrapping it around the wreath in order to keep that secure, and then taking it back in through the last hole and giving it one more knot. Super simple, but a fun way to hold it. And again, I'm not damaging the wreath by using any hot glue. To hang the wreath onto the picture frames, I'm taking a piece of the ruler that I cut earlier when I was securing the frames, painting it white to camouflage it. Once that dries, I go ahead and I take a screw and I screw that into the center, and I also paint that white. When it's all dry, I just take some hot glue and I secure that right onto the picture frames where I want it. So now all I need to do is actually hang the wreath up. I love all the different elements of this. I love the window, I love the wreath on this, and I love the little sign to put on it, especially with everything that's going crazy in the world right now. Everybody probably feels like, please bless our home. And I think that this is just super cute and super farmhouse. So if you're looking for more craft your stash inspiration, so many of my friends are doing the same thing right now. So I'm gonna leave their channels and their videos linked down below so that you can go click on their videos and get some more inspiration. For the next couple of projects, all you're going to need are glass jars and paint. Any size jar will do. Pickle jars, tomato sauce jars, hot sauce jars, peanut butter jars. Go grab whatever glass jars you have. Let's just make sure they're empty and clean. After that, just go to town painting your jars. What's great about this is that you can paint your jars and you can even get your kids involved painting jars. This can keep you busy for hours. If you are painting with a chalk paint, you're going to be doing 2 to 3 coats. Now, if you're painting with an acrylic paint, you're going to end up needing, probably if you want a nice solid coat, probably about 5 coats. With the acrylic, it's just a thinner paint. I would suggest that you make sure before you apply a second coat that you always let your paint dry first and then apply a second coat so that you are not moving the paint underneath around and you're getting some good coverage. It is also helpful if your brush strokes are going in the same direction. For this first set, I'm using these stencils that I got from Dollar Tree. If you don't have these, of course you could free paint, or if you again have an electric die cut, you could always create your own stencil. So these stencils have a sticky back, so I'm removing a little bit of the stickiness just to make sure they don't peel any of my paint up before I put them down. If you happen to not have these and you're creating your own with your Cricut or your silhouette, again, you might want to do the same thing, remove a little bit of that sticky. If you are using a different kind of stencil, you could always hold it on or use some painter's tape in order to keep it in place. When I stencil, I like to make sure I offload my brush. That means my brush is almost completely dry feeling. I don't have a super juicy, wet, painted paint on my brush, and then I go up and down in order to stencil. I don't do any of the tricks where you use like Mod Podge or the same color underneath it in order to keep my paint from bleeding underneath my stencil. I find that as long as I have offloaded my brush and I just go up and down, I don't have any of that bleed out or bleed under my stencil. Once I had completed stenciling, I did this actually to 3 different jars. I went ahead and I'm setting my jars with this Rust-Oleum chalk paint clear matte. This is my favorite protective top coat. It's super easy and it does a fantastic job. I'm just going in and giving all the jars just 1 coat each. Now, if you know that these are going to get handled a ton and you're really concerned, you can wait and let this dry and then go in with a second, even 3rd coat for added coverage or added protection. Now, I created these for my daughter. She absolutely loves animals and she loves crafting. So I made these so she could store a few of her crafty things. But how cute would these be in a baby's nursery? I absolutely love them. I just think they are super adorable. For my next project, I'm going with 3 very different jars from one another, but to keep them cohesive, I painted them all white and I included their little silver lid rims, and that kind of brings them together. I'm going in, again, using my Cricut, and I cut out Home Sweet Home. Now, if you do not have a Cricut, here is another option for you. So here are just 3 items that I have in my stash already: stencils, rub-ons, and stickers. All 3 of these happen to come from the Dollar Tree. So just dig into your stash and see what you have. You could also go in, pencil it out, and use a Sharpie or some paint and create your own lettering. So I went ahead and I applied 1 word to each of the jars. After that, I used that Rust-Oleum top coat in order to protect them, and then I chose to put lavender in them right now. I can change these out with the different season. I think that these would be super cute in the kitchen with different kitchen items. So many different possibilities. Absolutely love them. Now, this last one I selfishly made because I have 3 children and really want them to understand how important it is to currently wash their hands, and not only wash them, but wash them well. So this is the same size as some of the boxes that you see at Dollar Tree that have something on the inside. This just happens to have a picture of the succulent on the back side. I got this last summer, I believe. You could also use another Dollar Tree sign or any sign that you might have lying around. Maybe you're ready to repurpose something: cardboard, foam board, scrap wood. Anything that you can think of could work to do this. You could even just write it on a mirror if you needed to. Now, with this, I'm painting both the back side and the front side. I want it to look kind of pretty. It's going to be a little bit front and center. Not like anybody's coming to my house to visit, but you know, I got to look at it. Again, I chose to use the 4th Season Home Decor font in my Cricut Studio in order to put that on here. If you don't have this, please use stickers, a Sharpie, paint. There are so many different options. You don't feel like you have to have electric die cutter in order to recreate something like this. Now, once I had this all done, I decided I wanted to turn it into a stand, and I happened to have a candlestick from the Dollar Tree. So I took some spray paint and I painted it white, and then I took some hot glue once that's set up and dried, and I just hot glued the sign onto the candlestick, And now I have a couple different ways I can use this. Right now this is sitting by my front door, and as a nice reminder that if we happen to pick up a package from that front door, we need to wash our hands, and I have a basket full of great items when we grab those packages. Now I also think this is a good sign to have in the bathroom, because let's be honest, kids are not always the best at washing their hands really well, and I don't know how many times I have said, did you wash your hands and did you use soap? So this is a great reminder even after hopefully things calm down in the world and my kids will still need a reminder to wash their hands. If you would like a little bit more inspiration, check out these videos. Also, don't forget to check out the description box. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. I hope you have hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. If you want to keep up with me day to day, make sure you come and find me on Instagram, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!